Welcome to the Broski Doodles podcast. It's your boy Kiko Flow, Kiko Cervantes, and today we got you with that movie review with the crew. Movie review with the crew. Movie review with the crew.
What?
And we got a special one. We probably say that every time, but we don't. We don't, man. Let's wait till we start the episode, okay, guys? We got a special one today. You know, we try to watch movies from all sides, from all categories, from all type of directors. You know, we did Turning Red recently, which we felt was a little bit too on the left on some things, and we wanted to try out some of the movies that are coming out from the Daily Wire, right? So the Daily Wire is this entertaining chain. What would it be, like an entertainment production company where Ben Shapiro is the main guy there, but they got a lot of other people. I think Candace Owens is in it. But you know, we wanted to watch these movies, or at least try to start watching them to see, you know, give a proper review of them and see if it engages in a gendery, you know, if it has any shenanigans like we see on the left as well. So I wanted to go on both sides. We want to make sure that we're fair, and that's why we're doing this movie as well. So the movie that we saw with the Daily Wire was Shut In, right? Which is supposed to be sort of like a suspense, scary movie type thing. If you want to see this movie and other content from the Daily Wire, which I actually enjoy, I don't watch it all the time, but there are some times where I find it entertaining. Ben Shapiro is quite the character, so at any moment, Adrian might pop out in character, but we'll let him we'll let him be that. But yeah, so on the dailywire.com, you can subscribe and see all of this content. The movie we saw was Shut In, and I wanna get you guys' reactions first before I say anything, because I just wanna actually be entertained with what you say. So, what did you guys think? And jump in.
Yeah, that movie was an hour and a half on paper, but it felt like 4 hours in my mind. Dude, it was so goddamn slow, and it's just like so frustrating that it kept on going. I'll give it had some moments of suspense. They're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? But wasn't enough to carry the movie. I felt like it just dragged on, and the story was not there. I think it's a good start for this production company, but a lot of work needs to be done before I can put my money behind it.
It was definitely a very suspenseful. It had me at the edge of my seat the whole time. But it wasn't like a suspense of like, oh, I'm scared of like what might happen. It was a suspense of like, I'm about to have an anxiety attack because of all the things that I see here with this lady and what she's doing, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, but very intense, very graphic for an alt-right media company, but it really drove the message.
Well, it's not an alt-right media company. You know, these guys are diligent, and they will sue.
They're trying to.
Okay, sorry. So a let's say a conservative.
Yeah,
media
conservative.
Company? Can we say that?
Conservative media company, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the whole thing with their media side of things, besides their beliefs, is that they don't want to play on either side. They're trying to keep it as unbiased as possible and just deliver good content.
That's what I
find that.
That's what I heard they were doing, and that's what I was hoping for. But they're definitely not an alt-right company, even though some publications might say shit like that about them. We are fair, and they're just another company. But obviously, John didn't mean to say it like that, and John has a lot of Jewish friends.
And I can make mistakes, and I can accept when I am wrong, and I'll change, and I retract what I said.
That's what Jesus would like.
But Jesus would like me to turn the other cheek, and yeah, I'll do that. So yeah.
Speaking of Jesus, I felt like they
well, that's why I said
up on that topic. The whole movie. It's like she keeps looking at the cross. She looks at her hand. She looks at the cross. Identifies with Christ.
Well, I mean, let's go to the imagery
on the symbolism.
Let's go to the imagery again.
Oh my God!
So, I mean, like you guys got the part where she's trying to get out and she gets nailed on the other hand, and then now she looks at her hands and it's like she has the Jesus hands. Did you get that part?
But of course.
Yeah, and then
so-
she looks at Jesus again, and then she looks at the child molester's hand, and she's like,
Now I know what I have to do.
we're all gonna be
Nailed
rocking this.
Yeah. Okay. So
We're gonna
I mean,
make this look cool.
I can go through my notes here.
Yikes.
At the beginning of the movie, she's talking to somebody that's helping her with the house or with some payments, some shit like that they don't really describe. A lot of and I don't mind that. There are movies where it fits for you not to tell the whole story and kind of leave it vague and just that's fine. That's not what bothered me from the movie, right? But there's a part where she's on the phone and then she has to go. She's like, "Oh, that's my last minute," and I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken on this, but what type of plan does she have? Like, is there still plans with the minutes? Maybe this is a stupid argument from me, but
I know from reading books about drug dealers is that there's certain thing called burner phones where you buy and like you put money into it, and like it's a set amount of minute per based on the money you put in.
Okay.
Okay. Not that I own one or have one.
Or
allegedly.
I have. Johnny's like
the definition on Urban Dictionary.
Johnny's like, my phone is registered and totally traceable. I don't use burner phone. All right, so I mean,
I
obviously,
have a limitation on minutes.
I have an excess,
but
the most shabby house they could find, of course. But that's not strange for a movie about suspense, right? But it is like the shabbiest house in the world, right? Where everything is just old and dirty.
Rotten.
The little girl has like the bike from The Shining, right?
That's how she commutes around the house.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because she can't just walk. She needs to have her bike.
she even goes upstairs with it.
So it's a magic bike.
I will say that the production quality was great. Like it looks like they spent a lot of money on that. Like I thought it was gonna be like an amateur, like softcore porn type of like movie where you kind of know it's like shitty and
cheesy and
and cheap. But no, they did good with that. I wish the acting was better.
The cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Was
the production wasn't bad. And especially, like, we don't really know how much they spend on this. And maybe, I mean, like, this is the thing. If you compare it to a Hollywood movie, you see a lot of the lack of production there. But if you're telling me, look, this is just a couple of conservative friends with 2 cannons and a shabby house, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is pretty good, you know? Like, but you could tell there were moments. There were moments where, like, when they would go to the imagery, it would be very much like, and they did it so much that it was like, it was tacky. Like to the Bible and the bag of cocaine in the Bible. And then she does the lines. And when she's going to do it, she sees the Bible and then she opens it and it's Psalm 23, you know, and then she looks at the wall and then
like,
and it's full of money too. You know, when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's good incentive to read the Bible. And I don't know if that's why she did it. It's like every chapter you get $100.
Oof.
I mean, you could bribe your kids that way.
Or maybe like I guess that was her mom's Bible, and she's like, this girl's never gonna read this shit, so she's never gonna touch my money.
What I had understood that was grandma's house.
Yeah,
that was her grandma's house, so that's her grandma's Bible probably.
Or her mom. Wouldn't it be the kids?
They never clarified it, but it could have been the little kid's grandma, which makes her mom.
Oh,
but who knows?
Yeah,
I was with you. I thought it was the grandma of the lady because, Nana. You don't call your mom Nana, but I guess maybe if it's your kid's grandma,
makes sense. Like you're saying Nana in front of the.
But who knows? Because they never bring up anyone else in the movie.
Yeah, she was pretty heartless about it. She's like, Nana's dead.
Nana's fucking dead.
Next subject, daughter. We're talking about something else now. I don't want to hear Nana's name in this house.
She was more fed up about just that whole situation with her daughter and the kid than anything else, and it translated into the energy of the actress.
It's like you remember what happened to, whatever, Spiky the dog. Well, Nana too. Get over it.
Oh man.
We had to put them both down.
Now, I mean, I guess we're gonna be all over the place.
There wasn't much of a story there
with things here, but like, why would she leave the money on a Bible? Like, wouldn't it be better just to be like, hey, daughter, before I die, like, here, have this money, get your shit solved in, escape from this crazy motherfucker, or buy a shotgun and blow his face off? Like, I don't know. Like, why is it like? I don't know. I get it. Like, I'm trying to be hard on it too, because we're hard on every movie that we see. When we see a movie that's a little too in the sexual and the shit, we're like, hey, what's happening here, guys? What's happening here? Right? So on this one, I'm gonna be hard on it too, because I'm gonna look at the holes and like, why does she put the money on a fucking Bible? Like, what is it?
The literal holes.
And why is her ex showing up? What did he want? Just the whole time he was just there to get her to do crack again or meth? He wasn't looking for money because he knows that she's broke as hell. He wasn't there for his kids.
I mean, he actually was looking for money, because remember that he had that issue with Sammy where he needed money, or he borrowed money for the drugs, and because he was looking at her purse just to see whatever he can scrounge, like whatever he can.
Yeah, he was trying to steal her purse too.
Mm-hmm. He actually did, but the whole thing is that the Sammy person kind of like gets in his head and makes him believe that she's stuck up, and she feels like she's better than everybody else type.
I think the story overall is weak, but essentially it falls into that terror suspense category where you don't really have to have much of a story, as long as you have a lot of tension and those moments where you're like, oh god, what the fuck's gonna happen?
And it relied entirely on the girl to do it, because it was basically an hour and 15 minutes of her in the room, and then the rest it gets developed on the outside.
I'll be honest with you, like,
yeah,
from a production standpoint, I see how this makes it easier for you to make a really good quality movie, because you don't need that different location, right? You have one location. Mm-hmm. The room alone makes it easier for you to have cameras on certain. So for production, I get it, but you want, because like Tarantino did that on his first movies. You don't have that much budget, so you guys remember that movie where they're like in the whole time is in a warehouse. I can't remember the name.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not my favorite movie, but it is a good movie.
It works.
And it works, and he's able to have enough of a script and a dialogue for you to be interested. And he did that trick where like nobody notices, but look, I didn't spend that much money. All I had to do is rent a warehouse. I get that I don't criticize him for that. You can make a good movie with just one location if you do it right. But I just think the story wasn't there. And also, man, the acting was super weak, I think. And I don't know if I'm being harsh on it because I don't know the actors. But the girl, I didn't believe her at all, man. And I'll be honest, she's stunningly beautiful, I mean, I'll give her that, keep working on it,
Yeah, I think the best actor there was the friend of the ex,
Sammy, the
pedophile. Yeah, he was the most believable in his role. I couldn't get into it. Like a lot of times, just like this is not working out.
I thought the best actor was Mason. The baby. He played a very believable baby.
I think the best
cried on cue, fell asleep on cue.
I think the girl. I mean, she didn't do bad. I mean, it's not her fault. The story's not good, but now I don't want to be completely like trashing it, because I'm not. There's a lot of things that you could, not that many things that I can rescue. I think it's a good start in a production career, and we're here obviously talking from a very humble place. We're nobody to be saying shit like, oh, you guys have a far far along to go, like. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, I'm not invested in the movie. Towards the end, I'm just kind of wanting it to end. And what Adrian says is true. For a movie that's short, like an hour and 30 movies, I was like, oh, great. They're going to tell a story in a short time, like it's supposed to be. And it felt like 3 hours. I'm like, dude, can you get to the fucking place? and okay, let me go to the things that, like, don't make sense in the story, right? Like, fucking Sammy, right? When they come in on the first scene, right? And she's like, what? You brought Sammy here? And then she's talking to Rob, and she's like, why did you bring him here? You know what he did to that girl? And Sammy's literally next to him. and she's talking like the guy's not there, right? Like, if you're trying to de-escalate the situation, and then Sammy's like, what did you say? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm just talking to Rob. And he's like, yeah, but
like
right next to you.
I just heard you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Another thing is, like, Rob, right? The character of Rob. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this. Do you think the Daily Wire don't know what being high is and, like, what drugs are? Like, because, dude, a lot of times the way that they related to drugs felt in a way that parents that hate drugs but don't know anything about them would depict drugs as, right? It's like, you guys are high, and he's like, ah. And I mean, I'm not saying people high don't get into violence, yes, but it just seemed a little
exaggerated.
I mean, yeah, and the whole movie was like, the whole movie had a thing about, like, you see how drugs fuck you up and how Jesus is great. And okay, so let me.
Yeah, it's like a commercial for like a 12-step program.
I really was expecting Ben Shapiro at the end to come out. I was like, hey, you know what? If you need help, you can call us.
Here's our hotline. Call it. Save yourself. Save your kids. Save your life. Shapiro out.
And then this is when things to me started getting crazy, right? Because when Rob comes, the first time you see, like, okay, he's a piece of shit guy, but he's not a guy that's gonna cause harm, right, to this girl or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he's like, oh no, fuck this. I slap you, and then I bring you and put you back in the closet and close it. And then I'm gonna put 2x4s to close it. So, like, what is the motivation in Rob's side? Like, he doesn't like her, but does he want for her to die, and consequently his kids die because she cannot take care of them because she's stuck in a closet? Like the motivations are so weird, because part of you, they make you think that Rob is not this crazy character, just a drug addict. But then he starts doing things of like a crazy maniac, right? Like, that's not a junkie. That's like a person that's crazy. Why would you shut her in? And then he nails her, and she's like so casually, you nailed me, you asshole. And he's like, ha ha ha. And it's
like, I was thinking, like, is she high? Like, oh, you're such an asshole. Why do you do it again?
Like, and I don't know if it was, I don't know what it is that I found weird with the movie where like, things didn't fit.
I
think that was the acting. What I was referring to, like shitty acting.
But also
then,
the dialogue. The dialogue is bad. Because you wouldn't say that. Oh my God,
the
you
pedophile's there. And she's like, don't go near my kids, you jerk. I know you did last time. Please don't. And she's like so calm being in that closet for like 12 hours, a whole day.
Dude, there's a part.
Just laying there. I'm like, bro, I'd be trying to kick in the door, try and go up, try and go down.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just with you on that. There's a part where like she's laying down with the girl, and she's like, just sleep. And I'm like, bitch, you need to solve this shit.
He's so lucky that the baby wasn't crying the whole time.
Oh my God.
It should have feeding them.
It should have been.
Dude,
it should have been, but she's
non-stop crying.
The first night she goes through like 5 jars of apple butter. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is she doing? Is she doing with the butter? The first night she goes.
Yeah, she's too comfortable and complacent in there. I don't know what she's waiting for. You think the cops are just gonna come to your rural house in fucking Nebraska?
Well, there's a part.
Nobody's showing up.
There's a part where he reconciles that, and I think they try to rescue that argument with the fact that she's like, no, don't worry, Daddy will come tomorrow. And then that makes you feel, that makes you think like, okay, so then this guy, so you're not afraid of him killing you type shit. Like, and that's the part that bothered me. It's like, it kept shifting between, is the dad a crazy maniac that can kill us, or is he just a drug addict that we just need to shoo away type shit? Do you get that feeling, BJ? Where like you weren't clear how dangerous this guy was supposed to be for her, in her mind.
I mean, definitely not in her mind, but the moment that he nailed her into that room, she can't trust him, period. Because like if he did that just to score some money or some drugs, or just because let's say maybe he was fed up and like he didn't want to deal with her anymore. He had this whole situation where he had like an inferiority complex, thinking that she was better than him, whatever. And then he's like, well, fuck this bitch. I'm gonna stick her in that room. Let her rot in hell or some shit. But without really thinking the whole thing through, like, oh, if she's stuck in there and she dies, then the kids and this and then that, like, it's trying to portray that the fact that the drug use doesn't let you think clearly. And also, if we combine now that this guy could have a mental issue along with his rampant drug use, that's all like a recipe for disaster in the case of any family, even though they might not know what drug use is really like. This is not that far off. Obviously, it's definitely a very heavy dramatization of drug use in America, because remember, it was meth, it was crystal meth, the drug of choice in this case.
By the way, can you sniff meth, or is meth like, what is the preferred use of meth? And I'm not asking this as if they knew, but they have maybe had done other research, not that they tried themselves, you fucking sickos.
Not as an expert, but as a researcher, I read online that you can use both needle and ingesting through your nasal cavity.
Okay.
As a researcher. During my time in Purdue, when I was researching.
Yeah, during my time during my stint in Oxford.
Based on our clinical studies, you could ingest it in.
All right, okay. Let me bring up some things. Okay, so first of all, if they knew anything about drug addicts, when he shuts her in and leaves, he wouldn't leave her a baggie of drugs. Like, hey, here, have this. Because like they had this whole thing where like his motivation was to get her back into it, right? But also, when you're a druggie, you want your drugs. So that part seemed fake. Like he's gonna leave her a baggie of drugs when he's owing money because he owes drugs.
But then it's revealed at the end that was very heavily stepped on. Whatever he claimed that it was pharmaceutical standard, but in actuality it was shit. So he didn't even want it.
By the way, that's another. Yeah, but he didn't know that when he gave it to her. Apparently, from his dialogue, which I guess we don't even know if to trust.
No, like his dialogue said, he said that he tried it and he realized that it was stepped on.
Yeah, but
and
he said that after
he gave it to
like,
her.
Like, I gave it to you, and then later on when I did it myself, that's when I found out. But anyways, I don't think that's too relevant. But you know what is relevant and funny? He's like, this is stepped on, right? So because it's stepped on and shitty, I was high for longer. And it's supposed to be the other way around. Like, the pharmaceutical grade is the one that might fucking kill you from an overdose, right? Not the bad one. So do you think that was a hole in them not knowing? Like, in their mind, if it's shitty drugs because they're cut, then that means they're stronger, which is not the case. I mean, unless it's cut with fentanyl type shit. But
yeah,
right. Okay, wait. If you eat it, do you also get really high? Because that was the whole thing with putting it in the jelly. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know why.
And also, it was such a like a risky thing. When he starts feeling it, right, that he's about to cut her, but he's like you kind of want to act like you're surprised, like you don't know what's happening. But she right away going into, oh yeah, you feel something? Yeah, I overdosed you, bitch.
like an evil villain revealing their plot.
Yeah,
like
he's still there, available, and he can kill you, bitch. Like,
Do we accept that she killed the guy in self-defense with a sandwich? Is that what just happened?
No, she killed him when she fucking threw him out the window.
Well, yeah, when she fucking Sparta kicked him the fuck out of there, which was unnecessary. Like, how are you gonna explain that to cops? She should have just let him die from the overdose.
Right? That was
That's
the whole
true.
point of the thing. And also, I mean,
But then they would have found it in the sandwich, in the
I know
apple
this-
butter.
Wow,
he
that's the
could
way
have said,
he
like,
likes to.
yo, that's Nana's apple butter. I don't know how how she makes that shit.
That's was that in the recipe?
Oh, and we can address that she's retarded. When the guy, the rapist was with his hand nailed down, and she's checking to see if he's alive. She could have checked his nose. She could have just like checked if he was breathing. She could have smashed his arm to see if he would move or anything.
Dude,
And instead of burning his arm and risking her own life and her kid's life, she could have slit his wrist.
But maybe he wouldn't have released the kid as quickly as and what would she have slit his wrist with? The can lid?
yeah, the
Yeah.
can lid.
Which she cut his hand with. She could have just slit his wrist.
I mean,
To begin with, she could have killed him.
yeah, she could have killed him from the beginning. Now,
And then when she goes
his
and
arteries, like right in the, like
Right.
yeah.
when she went, and then at the very least when she got out, which can we all say that it was a rebirth, the way that she came out of that plastic on the top.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It reminded me of that scene in Ace Ventura when he comes out of the
rhino.
dude, and also like she throws a Bible. She's like, yeah, what is this good for anyways? And then she throws it, and then she sees the thing like all leaking, which she never noticed before. There was a huge leak right on the roof, which also that's dangerous. That shit could have fallen on you. The tub, it's just it had so many holes. Another thing that you said, when she checks his wrist to see if he's alive, like I think that was a fucked up part that didn't make sense, because you could check his pulse and see, and if he's alive, he's alive. If he's dead, he's dead. Like, I don't think there's a room for error there, is there? I mean, she could have checked.
I mean, maybe she just checked. Maybe she didn't check pulse. Maybe she just checked movement to see if he was like flinching or moving or anything.
I would have gotten the brick and like
I would have followed up
his fingers.
I would have followed up with a stab to the neck when I was outside. I don't know, like that. There, you have to double tap. You have to check him out. Yeah, you can't just leave some guy lying there. But once again, it's a movie.
Yeah, you kind of have to end it, right? Because at this stage, I mean, this guy's a rapist that's gonna kill your children, right? Like,
and let's just go out into the car in pouring ass rain without the keys.
Then I'm
with my whole family.
Dude, this is so stupid.
No, bring it. Yeah, smash it. I'm like, why don't you smash one of the other windows so you don't have glass in your fucking food?
Not only that,
That's a great fucking point.
then she grabs the bag and then everything just falls. Like, yo, man, get the fuck out of here, like straight up.
And then leave everything behind because fuck it, everything just fell already. So
yeah, I don't want your kids to get wet.
And also, dude, I mean, I know this
and
happens.
The ending of the movie was a little corny with the apples. It's like, okay, now that we got rid of the one bad apple, now the rest of our apples can harvest and we can make a nice, successful company out of this apple jelly.
Oh, I didn't know about that. But you know what's fucked is that didn't even make sense. Like, they didn't keep that narrative, because at the end, the Nana left a little note that said, oh, by the way, if you see rotten apples, check, because only take out the bad part and leave the good part, as if to say people can change type shit.
Right.
Yeah, just because you do a bad thing doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. Blah blah. You could change. You could take out the bad and still have a good person inside. Whatever.
Be left with the good.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one was a bad apple.
Like it was very like hallmarky at the end, like, and you only take out the bad part, and then you can keep the good part, and you can still have the good part, and we can make butter.
No, it's even said it's from these apples that the best apple butter comes, like the ones that are about to go bad, but then you cut out the little part and you leave the good part because they're the most ripest.
No, and that is true. Like avocados, you want to get the ones that are starting to rot so that they're more gooey, and you can make guacamole with those, right? So I mean, we're more on the Spanish side, so our example of this whole thing is guacamole and avocados, not apples.
Some aguacates.
Some aguacate.
And our example of a druggie is La Llorona.
Like, drug use.
Like the suspense or the horror of the like who the antagonist was drugs, or the antagonist was the devil. What do we say that the antagonist of the movie was?
Yeah, it was like the force to do bad things, the evil force, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys find that the boyfriend Rob, he wasn't really a scary character? They could have made him more like, well, first of all, he was scrawny as fuck. Like, I don't know, dude. They just didn't look scary to me. And one part that didn't make sense to me is that the girl, when she's shut in and she's asking the girl to do this, do that, the girl for some things is super smart, and then for other things she's like completely dumb. I don't know if you noticed that, like go change your brother, and then she goes and changes the diapers of the brother, feeds him, all this shit, and then it's like, get me a screwdriver. She brings her a stick.
A crayon.
Like a crayon. Sorry. You know damn well that I can't break this with a crayon.
And she would talk to the
Laney,
girl.
don't come down here. He's going to hurt you. What? This guy?
Ah! Mommy, help! Come on, I'm scared.
Also,
Pero pobrecita, when she peed in the door, that was like I felt bad for her.
no, I mean, and like I said, I think the girl was the best actor. We can't hear you right now.
The mom seemed kind of mad about that. It's like, yo, your house is falling apart. Like, you should feel bad, not
Yeah, that's the least of your worries right now.
Like she goes around to check on the guy and to check on the piss stain.
Do you guys think it was a little weird that the junkie, right, was like, all right, Sam, well, I'll give you the drugs if you put the hand in. Like, come on, bro. Like, they're enemies. That was such a low-hanging fruit. They're like, all right, put it closer. I'll give you the drugs. It was
I need your whole arm. Little more.
At least until at least until your elbow, so I can see it. What? I thought you can't reach. Oh yeah, no, I can't reach.
When the guy could,
I'm all the way at the other end of the room.
When the guy could have easily grabbed one of her kids and hold her to the door and be like, I'm gonna kill them unless you throw the drugs. Like, no, this guy, she just bamboozled him like a fucking old Wild Coyote cartoon type shit where the guy's super dumb. Wild Coyote.
Oh my god.
Put the hand in there. A little closer. Let me see the artery.
I was low key expecting that when she got the Bible and threw it at the cross, that right then and there, like the whole it was gonna shift to like her getting like fucked over and like so a whole bunch of bad things happening just because of like the whole her like abandoning why do I need this now, and then like her being mad, and then like the whole thing just flipping, like the door opens, the guy comes inside, everything gets fucked up, the guy comes through the fucking hole or some shit, like some like supernatural shit, because like I was expecting a horror movie, I wasn't expecting a suspense. That's what the movie claimed to be, a horror movie.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be more horrific in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Even though that whole hand burning scene, that was intense.
Yeah, it was. Well, which I also
I
found
thought when the cross fell, she was gonna use the cross, but she didn't. She took out the screwdriver for some dumb reason.
And
could
she
used the cross to whatever she needed to do.
Like what you guys say is true. So she starts burning him, which was scary, right? Like things could have turned ugly, and then she just turns off the fire like normal, like it's nothing,
like it's not burning on the other side either.
Yeah, like I didn't get that part. I have another thing here that I have where towards the beginning when she's first shut in, she starts talking to the daughter in a very unrealistic way. like confessing shit to the daughter, and like the daughter's too young to even understand. Like the daughter's like, "Hey, mommy, I need to pee." Ah, yeah, I know, honey. I was a bad mommy, but I'm trying to be better and shit. And it's like, and they need to do that because they need to give some context in the movie, but because there's no one she could speak this to, they make it so that she's like reminiscing on it, so that she could tell us, the audience. But it comes out strange because you wouldn't talk to your daughter that way, and second, you wouldn't tell them this thing. You know what I mean? So to me, it just seemed like
she could have been praying to God, which would have made it more believable. Like, please, God, get me out of here. I did this, this, and this, and this. And
oh, that's a good idea. You're right. She could have made it, and they could have presented that information in a more sneaky way.
Why was the house such a mess? Like, I didn't understand. Like, obviously they're trying to make it like extreme, I guess, poverty or extreme desolation because of the beds were like on the floor, and the whole house, nothing was clean, nothing was picked up, everything was all over the place.
Yeah, for
Like,
all the order.
I guess she just got clean like a week ago.
Like, okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, she's supposed to have been on drugs, which she doesn't. Nah, I mean, I guess she could have been a druggie because she was very skinny.
And the fact that the Rob, the first thing that he does when he comes back is sit down on the table and start heating that shit up in front of the kids, like that means that before that they were doing that,
right?
No problem. Like, they were doing that in front of the kids, like, no problem.
Now, another thing that I'm
now
asking here,
that she's clean, he's telling him not to do it.
They say that she's like, "Oh no, I'm moving to Texas, right? Because they're more Republican there." She says she can't afford her house, right? Or she can't afford to live there, but she has the house. So wherever you go, you're gonna have to pay your expenses and your living. So technically speaking, this is a place where it will be cheaper for you to live because the house is yours. She said to the guy, like, no, she only left the house, type shit. Which again, very weird to say.
Depends on how much the property taxes are, but yeah, either way, the house still belongs to her. So I'm pretty sure the IRS are still gonna hunt her down and be like, "Yo, you have a property up in North Dakota. You gotta pay something for it."
Oh, okay.
The issue came around that she didn't have a means to support herself, even if the house was free.
Okay.
Because the house could be free.
So
there ain't no jobs over
in Texas. Find a job.
I guess. I mean, what else? I mean, which is why they had to establish the fact that she created an online business for the butter, because otherwise she still couldn't be there. Like, even if she got clean, she couldn't be there without a job.
Yeah, maybe this whole movie was an ad for Shopify.
Okay,
I don't know. All of a sudden, I guess the money that was in the Bible was enough to get her life back to normal again, or back on track.
The money from the Bible. That
I don't know what other point.
Why didn't her grandma leave this money originally? Or maybe she didn't because she was on drugs. I don't know. A lot of context.
Right.
Okay. There's
I,
a part.
I don't see what else was the point of including that money in there.
And literally, she almost threw that book away had it not been for this whole struggle.
She would have. She was about to leave it. She was about to leave it.
No, she had a bag. She was about to put it in a bag. I mean, she even put it in the bag, and then she was gonna go get the cross, and then the door got locked.
Which, again, the whole premise of the movie is a fucking bad door that cannot be opened from the inside.
Well, the whole house is like, Laney, lock the door. I'm like, they could just break the window and get into your house. Like, you think
which is what she did when the door was locked.
Yeah, very easily. Yeah, they
locking the door is magic.
Unlocking. Yeah, they emphasize on locking the door. Like, oh, like, we're gonna be fine. Like,
Laney, lock yourself in the room with Mason. Laney, open the door. It's me. It's mommy. Break the door down.
Also, did you guys find it interesting that the house had surround sound? Wherever Laney was, she could speak to her from the closet or whatever, from the pantry, and she would hear her. She had like the connection, like surround Dolby
That's how.
Atmos.
Apparently, the whole house was made of paper. The
Yeah.
bathroom tile wasn't tile; it was paper.
Oh my god,
I have here a
that
part
was
where
a,
like
that
Yeah,
was.
it was
where
just.
you remember when she drops the baby, Laney, and
Oh
like
my god.
and after she drops the baby, she's like, "All right, it's okay, baby. Just get the milk bottle and hold them." I'm like, "Hold them." She dropped them. You don't know what like this has to be more serious.
He could be
you know?
bleeding.
Yeah, like was she trying to
He
take
could have
bring them down
internal
the
hemorrhaging.
stairs? Yeah.
Jesus. Clack, 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 like he's here. Him with the stairs, like
It's okay,
Laney, what happened, Laney?
Mommy, the baby's dead. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Get on the bottle. Heat it up.
And feed it to
No,
yourself.
Heat it up at the perfect temperature, not too hot, not too cold.
Get the screwdriver.
Oh man. You mean the crayon mommy?
Put him off his misery.
Yeah. Draw eyes on the baby. We'll just forget that it passed away.
Laney,
Oh man.
Mason now is like a doll. All right.
Oh fuck.
Ben Shapiro is not gonna like this.
No, not at all.
Okay. A line that I found funny is like Rob comes and he's like, "Where's your daughter? Rob owes me money and I'm here to collect payment." There was
Oh
these
my
lines that were so
God.
corny.
Yo.
There was a line where she was like, "If I give you the meth, would you leave us and not come back and leave us alone?" Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Me personally,
yeah.
you can
yeah.
definitely trust.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
You can trust me. Give me a mess.
And it was this
Give me the
part,
meth.
the first night that the guys nailed there. He's like, "I hope you freeze to death," and the guy's like, "Hope, hope. You always look for hope, right? But hope is not gonna." And he tried to be profound, but I was like, "Yeah, I don't see anything there, like with the hope or whatever." And another thing is,
You want
when
me to
he has-
freeze to death? How could you?
when he has some nail there, he could have asked him, "Okay, look, give me your phone or I'll fucking cut your wrist or some shit." That's it. The movie's over in 35 minutes. Why didn't she ask him for his phone?
Yeah, I
Or
don't
for
know
the
why she
phone?
didn't call 911 to begin with.
Yeah, the movie should have been over when she had 9-1 and then just the extra one.
Yeah, that would have
Oh
been
my
over.
god.
What
But
else?
it's a
What else?
movie.
Oh, bro, you guys talk about the cinematography. Do you guys catch the cold
Cinematography.
effects? The cold effects, like the air coming out. That shit was pretty fake. You notice that? It seemed like
So
you know,
like super CGI.
yeah, CGI. It looked like fake, like the coldness. The baby.
Yeah, they got hit by all 4 seasons in that movie. A thunderstorm, and then there's a blizzard, and then it's normal again, all in one day.
And another thing, like Sammy, when she's about to leave, she gets the guy's keys. She thinks he's gonna have a car, and he has a motorcycle. And she's like, "Ah, fuck." The motorcycle's super sick. Like the type of motorcycle a meth head wouldn't have. You know, it was like a motocross. You know, like I don't know, like a Yamaha or something.
Maybe he's a dealer. That's why he was there to collect.
And he goes boom boom. Okay, he's a dealer. Also, towards the end, this part was super funny. Rob comes to the rescue, right? When Sam has the guy with knife, and then he's like, "What are you doing here, man? With my kids? What are you doing? Are you like a pedo or something?" And he's like, Yeah, bro. Like, you know this. Like, he acted too surprised, which I found to be fake. He's like, "What? You're into kids or some shit?" It's like, yeah, like that's your buddy. You know
Don't
this.
you
Like,
remember last weekend, bro? Come on.
it's like if she knows it, if I don't remember the name of the lady, but if she knows about this guy's past or whatever, then the boyfriend knows. So it was so weird, like to for him to be so surprised, like, "What? Are you like a pedo or something?" And then so casually he kills him, and then he talks to her. He's like, "All right, so that's solved. No problem. It's all good now."
Like there's some dead guy in the room now. Oh my goodness.
Hey, you remember Sammy? Don't worry, he won't be a problem anymore. And then everybody's like, "All right, well, let's make now PB and J butter sandwiches."
Before we get high as fuck.
And she sounds so
Nah,
fake. She's like, "Okay, okay, okay, let's do drugs, but first we eat, okay?" And because you know it's better.
You need your muscles. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
It is
oh
true.
man.
You're right,
I
you're
have
right,
an
you're right.
infection in my hand that probably is gonna cause an amputation of it.
Oh, she can't grab shit, but yeah, she can sit there and make make that breakfast for her kids and the guy.
Mind you, at this stage, both her hands are stabbed in because she already did the Jesus scene.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah, this movie. I don't like it. I wouldn't watch it again, nor would
So-
I recommend it.
Suspension of disbelief is heavy on this one. Like, like you have to kind of put away a lot of logic for you to be able to be like, you know what? Okay.
all right, I just went through my phone and I actually went through all the notes because I had a lot of them and we went through the whole thing. You know, I wanted it. Okay, let's analyze this on a more conceptual level, right? Like, okay, we already say what we think about the movie, but did you guys feel like a little disappointed going in this thinking that first maybe this is gonna be, instead of this being a right movie, this is gonna be a movie that's just not gonna have any agenda, and because of it, like, all right, we're gonna see a lot more from these people make movies that are no agenda, right? It's just a good movie, but it did seem like it was agendy.
Was it the whole Christianity?
The whole
I
Christianity,
mean, I came into the movie.
yeah.
I came into the movie knowing that there had to have been like something that was going to be different than normal production companies. Um, Definitely because of the Christianity and the stance that it takes on drugs and drug users and how it affects the family. Definitely. But I didn't go into the movie thinking that it was about drugs or Christianity. I went into the movie thinking that it was gonna be like a horror film, like maybe some guys were trying to like kidnap her daughter, or her, or something like that. But then realized that it was basically an hour and a half of an escape room.
Basically. I
No,
think the
when-
movie would have been better if the kids were in there with her instead of just
Mm,
her.
It would have
Yeah, but
increased
then-
the stress.
but then it's no collateral for
Yeah.
her outside. Like they couldn't threaten her.
No
I mean, I guess
motivation
the
for her to
movie-
leave.
The whole movie
They're gonna
would have been
die.
different.
She,
Yeah, I
she
mean,
had
I-
apple butter there.
I thought the movie was gonna end up where like she goes like super crazy. These are my kids, and she's gonna grab a shotgun and kill motherfuckers. Like I thought that was where it was gonna go, and it ended up being more
Something like that.
like, oh, you're stuck in here, and then when the husband comes back to save him, you kind of feel like, oh, is this gonna go the way where now he's like a good guy and he realized, no, I want my kids, I love you, baby, but it's like, no, he's now like looking for the money. Like it's weird because he's good and then bad. You know what I mean? Like he's inconsistent. I felt like he wouldn't act a certain way and then go the other way. Where like, you do these drugs or I'll kill you. It's like, fuck.
The,
I don't
the thing that I see with Rob is that he was never good. He was always bad from beginning to end. It just that his motivations changed when I guess he what did he say that he came back for? He said that he came back to see if she had the rest,
I don't
or like
remember.
if she had used up the.
He says, "Oh, I
Because
came
I
back for
think his
you."
motivation's
Clear.
gonna. I don't think he came back for her. I think he came back, or maybe he came back because he felt some type of way about what he did, and he wanted to apologize or something like that.
No,
Maybe,
because he
and
says
then
at one
maybe see if
point,
she had more
he
money.
says at one point, he says to her, "Oh, I came back. It took me a little longer to get back because I was fucked up on the drugs, but I came back. Like I'm not a monster." And that's the part where
But
like
he came back for what? Like
nothing.
why
That's
come
the
back?
thing. That's the thing. Like it doesn't make sense for him to come
I,
back.
I
Because if he's a monster,
his
let's say he
motivation
doesn't care
was
about his kids, he doesn't
uh
care about this bitch, he just leaves her in the closet. But if he comes back, okay, so he has a little bit of heart because he's like, okay, I can't leave her. Okay, my kids haven't eaten in 2 days. Okay, I'll open the closet. Like, he dances in this line where I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a piece of shit. Kill him. Fuck him. He's an evil person. But in the movie, the way they try
he,
to narrate it to you, they don't give you a clear motive for him to do what he does.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they're going for. That drugs just make you crazy.
But that's the thing. Like
his
But
even
you're
a
motivation
right.
for
drug addict,
opening.
like this is my problem, right? And I think we're getting to the essence of it. Is that even a drug addict works like a human with intentions and incentives. And in this movie, and we're going back to the original thing I said, it's almost like they're portraying drugs as people that don't know what drugs are. And they make it look like, you see, when you're drugs, you do things that are completely unrelated and crazy. And that's not exactly how drugs work. You do crazy stuff, but it does follow a chain. Like, I don't know if you get what I mean. Or if maybe that's just me looking at it that way.
Well, which is why I said I don't know why he even went to begin with. Like once he goes
So
and realizes that she has no money, okay, leave. She has no money, no
theoretic,
drugs. He wouldn't really want to be there.
theoretically, he goes back. Sammy never went. She's still locked in that little closet. The kids are up there and crying and shit. I don't think he would have let her out. I think he would have asked her if she had money or drugs or something. And then if he wouldn't have found the answer that he wanted, he would have just left again.
Well, the only thing that he could have been coming back for is like, oh, did you do the drugs I left you? Are you back in my team now? But then even that was very
Something
blurry
like that.
as to why that would even be a yeah, like my problem is
Because
incentives.
because
The characters don't have the incentives.
he opens the cupboard only because the money's there to go get more drugs. Because she's already by this time she's already out. There's no need to open the cupboard.
And then she says, "Get all the money, leave." And then he's like, "No, no, no. Now I want you to also do drugs." And I mean, I get it. I mean, it could be the case, right? Somebody that's very bad on drugs, they do crazy shit like this. So I guess I can't blame them for that. But it is a bit weird. It's a bit inconsistent.
The part where he says to make her do drugs, I feel like he's doing that because he feels that he's in this big ass hole and he doesn't want to be there alone. So he wants like misery wants company. So he wants her to be there, even if that's not what she wants to do. Because he doesn't want to feel bad or guilty about what he's doing if somebody else is doing it with him, you know? And that's very often why you see this continued drug use amongst friends and stuff, because they'll go to their friends that do that, and they'll feel comfortable the fact that they know that they're not the only one that's doing that. You know, that's why they say you should never drink alone, because then you're an alcoholic.
Well, these are things
I
that
feel like him and
actually
his boy would have just fucked off from the beginning. Then once they realize there's no money, there's no drugs here, let's just go get high through some other means. We already robbed her.
But then we realize what's Sam's motivation. Sam's a vulture. He realizes that he knows that the lady is locked in that cupboard. The kids are open to be preyed on. he wants what he wants. He like, if he can't get the money that this guy owes him, then he gets something from him, which is the kids. So
also,
that's
it doesn't
his
make
motivation
sense.
to come back.
It doesn't make sense for Rob to come back with a gun because he shouldn't think there's anything going on. So the fact that he comes in like guns blasting, like what's up, like was a bit and
Back for you, baby.
There is a part that you're talking about drugs. 'Cause I mean, yeah, one thing that we could say from the movie is the message about drugs and that drugs are bad, and I'm totally with that message. But there's a part that I actually found interesting is when Rob is like stuck in, right? He's like talking about hope, hope. You know, you go to these places, these rehab, they take your money and they give you hope. But what they don't tell you is that when you get out of there, you still go back to your shitty life. You're sober, but you're back to your shitty life. The shitty life that you originally did drugs to escape from. And that actually was a line that I was like, oh, fuck, that's actually very, very true because a lot of times what happens with drug addicts is that
Users.
they don't have a route, right, to become better. So it's like if you're a drug addict, you cannot just go from being a drug addict that just came out of rehab to getting a job at McDonald's. That doesn't happen like that. There's steps. You need to have an address, a credit score. I don't know. Like I just feel like that resonated to me because that did feel indeed like a lot of people don't have a route. Kind of like what happens when people go to jail and they go get out. Sort of the same situation where you're in -10, so you need and the help is not giving you money or this. The help is giving you the system. You know, like here, have a little apartment for a few months until you get your shit together, right? And we're gonna help you with some job applications, and then you move up the ladder. You know, some shit like that. So I
Yeah,
find that to be
part of a rehabilitation program should also include like a financial or a social rehabilitation, you know, like because one thing is you being clean, and then one thing is you being clean and being able to survive in this world that we live in, you know.
and the
There's a lot
very
of things, there's a lot of factors that come into play in
and
real
the
life.
very thing that gets you into drugs is the fact that you don't have a stable life. So the root of the problem is not only getting you off the drugs, but also getting you to improve your life in a way so that you don't feel you need drugs to escape from it, which is not an easy
Exactly.
task, but it is what needs to be done. So I think that was important. I think if there's anything good that leaves me from this is that I mean obviously not just the message that drugs are bad because that's too vague for people to affect them, but the fact that drugs are bad and that people that do go into them need more than a rehab. They need a whole support system, community, family that allows you to feel that you can be better and start and get into the community. Maybe you start as a janitor at a place and then you get better and now you're a carpenter, whatever the fuck, you know. But you need to have a route. And I mean, we can debate on many other podcasts about what's the way to making that possible. What are the social programs that I think could help? But that's another podcast. But that would be a good thing that I leave out of this regarding movie making for the Daily Wire. I hope they keep making them and improving. It's always good when there's competition on both sides. I guess it's a little unfair for me.
There's good people on both sides.
Yeah, there are, and maybe it's unfair for me to say that it was a Gendy just because it had Jesus on it. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, but you did. I guess I went into it with knowing who made it, so I guess I made those connections. But maybe it's just coincidence. What score would you give it?
5 max.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely very heavy Christianity imagery all throughout the Psalms, the her hands getting cut with the holes, um, her always looking at the cross, her about to do drugs and then looking at the Bible and the cross again. Like it's there, it's there. It's very evident that there's this struggle of good and evil, particularly with God involved. And overall, the movie did give me suspense, but it was like an anxiety suspense. It wasn't like like I'm actually scared or I don't know what's gonna happen next. At a certain point in time, you already knew like the outcome of what was gonna happen. You know, I'd say overall like a 5 as well. I feel like they did good to start, and they have room to grow as a company, as a production company.
Okay. Well, for people that wanna, I also give it a 5, and I agree with what you say, John, about the imagery. I also feel the same way as you, and maybe Adrian feels that too. That it wasn't an anxiety of suspense in a movie. It was almost like an anxiety of like, just do the thing that you're gonna do that I kind of know you're gonna do, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'll give it a 5 too. I think there's room to grow. I do find it good that there's a competition for other production companies, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Thank you once again for joining, Broski Doodles. Subscribe to the thing and leave a comment and let us know what you think if you watch this movie or any of the ones that we review on this potty. Take care. Peace.
So I saw the Broski Doodles podcast the other day, and they were talking about the movie Shut In, one of the best movies that we have. It's rated an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes. I quite frankly don't understand their reaction to the movie. I think it was brilliant. Maybe they just didn't get it because they don't value our Judeo-Christian beliefs. The movie was quite simple. The message was clear. Through Christianity, through our faith in our Lord and Savior, everyone can be saved. And I think that was quite obvious. And I think that they didn't understand because they're still novices at reviewing movies. And that's why they get 100 downloads at most. But anyway, I appreciate that they watched the movie. Hopefully that they'll watch the next one and understand it.
Anyway, I feel that this movie is an accurate depiction of all the crackheads in Oregon that are destroying our beautiful nation. This is what happens when you legalize drugs and you let drugs run rampant among our society. This movie is pretty accurate in my estimation of what drugs do to a human. There's an opioid epidemic going on at the moment, if you weren't aware of it. And so we're trying to capture that in an hour and a half. If you think you could do it better, feel free. Feel free. It's America, land of the free, capitalism all the way.